Hello witches, it's Strikabella. It is spring and it's raining and I have planted all my seeds, yay! I hope I didn't plant them too soon. I say this every year, I'm sure I do. But we had some days where it got pretty cold. I planted a ridiculous amount of seeds this year because the last couple of years my garden did really well and it kind of took over and it grew up the steps and everything, so I weeded out some more areas of the yard I have a wall in the front of my yard, and I planted some seeds along there, and I also weeded along the whole length of my driveway. I'm not sure if I'm going to plant stuff there because it tends to get really overgrown in the summer. Even with all the weeds pulled out, I'm sure they'll grow back. But little by little I'm clearing some extra space. I planted pumpkins and watermelon and tomatoes and herbs and vegetables and carrots, cucumbers, lettuce, everything, beans, peas, a ton of stuff. I don't know if it'll all grow, but you know, I went kind of crazy. I got the seeds for a really good price. That being said, I am feeling a lot better. I was really sick for the last couple months, and I was going to the doctor and getting medicine and blah blah blah, all that kind of stuff. And so I started researching on my own, knowing what I know about the Western medicine world. And if you watch my videos regularly, you'll know that I discovered that the word that people think is witchcraft in the Bible is actually derived from the word pharmakia, which is where the word pharmaceuticals come from. And pharmaceuticals are actually what the Bible forbids as far as witchcraft, is taking something from its natural state, kind of like robbing its qualities, changing them into something poisonous. And most of the medicines nowadays that the pharmaceutical companies sell, and yes, they're selling them to make profit, have side effects that are terrible, horrible. I was watching a commercial the other day and I was literally cracking up. Like, who would ever take that? The side effect list went on and on and on, and it was like the most horrific things, like paralysis of your limbs, seizures, death, muscle stiffness that may be permanent. Like, it just went on and on and on for like 10 minutes with these symptoms. And a lot of the medicines nowadays, because you know they're running out of options and they have to patent things that have not been patented before, and so they add things that have terrible side effects, and it's just horrible. So what they would call in our society alternative medicine isn't alternative. It's actually going back to the basics, because for thousands of years medicine was plants. It was taking the oils and the extracts and using plants to make teas and tinctures and concoctions and things like that, and ingest certain herbs or flowers or things like that that they knew had medicinal properties. That's not alternative. That's like going back to the basics. But of course they have to word it as being some alternative, you know, to the good medicine. And you know, I've been a human guinea pig my whole life. Since I was a little kid, I was poked and prodded and always issues with my health, and you know, I've been misdiagnosed so many times by quack doctors. I mean, I don't mean to call them quacks, it's not very nice, but a lot of them are. And you know, it seems like the number 2 cause now, from some of what I've read, I don't know where they get their research, if it's just on our country or, you know, if it's the Western world or what. But I read that the number 2 cause after heart attacks is medical mistakes. And I actually watched a show not too long ago about these terrible mistakes that doctors had made that caused people to constantly have to go back and back and back to the doctor, only to find out that, like, during a surgery 3 years ago, somebody left the gloves and sewed the person up with the gloves inside of their lungs. I mean, that's sad, because after surgery, they're supposed to count, each item that comes in, and they have a little checklist to make sure each item that came into the operating room went out. And so somebody obviously was checking off something that they didn't actually see with their eyes. And that's just kind of like basic. Anybody with, 2 eyes should be able to do. But there's lots of mistakes like that made all the time. And so in going to the doctor and getting, a 1,000th diagnosis of some other issue, because I kept going to the doctor because I had swollen lymph nodes in various parts of my body, and it would keep happening. Sometimes in my neck, just different places would swell up, and they would just give me some diagnosis, give me antibiotics, and send me home. But I knew that something was going on, and so I started researching on my own. And the point being, the medicine or the cream that they gave me at the doctor, either way, they gave me medicine, and then the next time they gave me cream. And but the stuff that I made on my own, the teas and the stuff I was breathing in, and I used a variety of natural methods, and my methods actually worked way, way, way better than anything that the doctor gave me. And so I started doing some more reading. I read some of what was on my dog's ear mite medicine, because the cat and the dog ended up having ear mites, and I realized the active ingredient was peppermint oil, which I had already used to mop all the floors and all of that and clean stuff. And so apparently, the amount that they put in the one that you get at the pet store versus the one I had, I was able to get the 100% pure essential oil, so I used more of it than they probably did. And so you get more for your money that way. So I realized a lot of stuff that I was paying a lot of money for and trusting in vets and doctors, and that I can make myself. And that's really sad, because, most people don't realize that a lot of the things that we use are just derivatives of plants and herbs and things like that. So, all that being said, I'm going to try to do a haul video later and show you guys some of the things that I got for my my practice. You can use this stuff not only for medicinal purposes, but also for incense and spiritual stuff as well. A lot of the things that we use in our practices actually also have medicinal uses. You just have to have a scale and be able to know how to measure and how to weigh how many grams per amount of water, and how many grams you need for your body weight and that kind of stuff. And it's pretty simple once you know how to do it. For example, yesterday I made a Reiki mushroom tea, and those things are really a bitch to try to try to cut up, because they're really, really, really tough. And even when you're cooking them to make your tea, it takes forever. You have to cook them for like 2 hours to get the liquid, and depending how strong you want it, and it tastes disgusting. It's really gross, I have to admit. You do have to force yourself to drink it. You can add stuff to make it a little bit more palatable, if you could call it that. But even with all the honey and lemon and everything else you add to it, it's still pretty nasty. But anyway, it has lots and lots of good properties, healing properties. It can even, from what I've read and researched about it, it can cure AIDS, or at least help for it to not advance cancer and things like that. I mean, it's amazing. It's really, I think the word, the Chinese word means like the spiritual something, like the mushroom of the gods or the spiritual mushroom or something like that. But it really is. It's got very, very amazing properties. Some of the other stuff I got was eucalyptus. I also have the oil. Eucalyptus, peppermint, garlic, all those kinds of things are very, very good as far as healing and cleansing and detoxing and that kind of stuff. I also got witch hazel root and what else did I get? Oh, wormwood. Now, wormwood can be poisonous, so you have to be really careful with that one. The other one that's kind of can be poisonous and toxic is angelica, but in small amounts, taken in a tea. It can be used for cramps and to help with afterbirth. I think in the old days they used it for abortions when if they got pregnant early in the pregnancy. It could induce a period even if they were pregnant, but terrible cramps. And I've used it if I have like an event or something to go to and I didn't want to have my period at the event, to get it a little bit earlier or later or whatever. But you can do that. But you have to be really careful and know, what qualities are in the plants, or if they're poisonous, if they interact, and that kind of stuff, because that's really important, because it can be dangerous to just play around, testing and trying things on yourself. But if you've done the research and you know what you're doing, it can be very beneficial and save a lot of money. So yeah, and that being said, I hope you guys are enjoying your spring, and I will be making another video later, hopefully, showing you guys my haul. I already took the stuff out of the packages and put it into jars, so sorry about that. I'm not going to open the boxes and everything, because I know you guys like videos like that. Maybe I'll even show you, I had to buy some new clothes, because with all the healing, I lost some weight. And I didn't have to, I didn't do anything like exercise or diet or any of that. It was just from getting bad stuff, the acidic bodies tend to be sick bodies. So you have to get the right balance of acidity and the good bacteria versus the bad bacteria. Once you have that perfect balance, your body can work properly. Your immune system will be back to its normal, effective state. So, I hope you liked my video. I miss all you guys. Sorry I haven't been making too many videos. And blessed be. Bye.